Today I'll be doing a solo Grandmaster and Hunter. Woo! For my subclass, I'll be using Night Stalker Deadfall. For the kinetic, I'll be using the 7 Seraph Officer Hand Cannon. Next, I'll be using the POLARIS Lance. For the machine gun, it will be the Fixed Odds. Crafted. People have been calling me the console dweeb. Now people are calling me the glaive lady, which is true. But for this season, there's no unstoppable glaives, which really irritates me. And it forces me to use meta weapons such as this one in particular, the POLARIS Lance. Now I am using a Void subclass. I haven't touched the Void subclass for a long time, so I guess I'll just come back to it for a bit. And the reason why I'm using it is because the meta for this season. I mean, the artifact mods, most 80% is solar. And a hint of stasis and a hint of strand a bit. Because of that, all of us, of course, will use solar subclasses. But there are ways you can use the meta weapons and then mix it up with the subclasses such as Arc, Void. But for this battlegrounds, which I extremely hate and I don't support it, by the way, as a solo player, I don't support battlegrounds. I hate it. There's gonna be times where I need to clear down the ads. Now, be aware of focusing on taking down the barrier champions. The reason why is because they move a lot. They will mess up your DPS dealing with the acolytes. Now be aware to not take down the wizard yet. When you take down the wizard, then you're gonna spawn this mini acolyte boss, which will give the ads over shields, and then it will have the ability to have your guardian not be able to use its super and not be able to use is melee attack for some reason, and grenade, of course. Here's an example. So you see this shiny dude, right? This major. He is going to be a pain to the point where he's gonna go up to that platform. Now before someone comments, yes, there are times when this major can fall down and then immediately you defeat the mini boss, but I think it's based on luck, because there are times where I make the mini boss fall down to the pit and he still respawns, and I tried it 4 or 5 times, and then when there's moments where I'm not trying to push him off the edge, then he dies. So the best thing I can think of is just try your best to take him down. I wasn't fast enough to even use the machine gun to take down the mini boss, but once you take him down, you can just easily take down all these ads with the exotic sky rifle. Luckily, this barrier champion was cooperating. Usually this barrier champion likes to huddle around with the other majors. Another thing I'd like to mention is when using the POLARIS Lance, it's powerful, but not as powerful when you're using a solar subclass because of the solar fragments. Because of this, it's going to take a while to take down the ogre, take down the barrier champions, the unstoppable champions. Another thing that people will ask is, why am I using a hand cannon if I can just use POLARIS Lance to stagger the unstoppable champions? Well, here's the problem. I need it for the mini cheese for the ghosts. That's why. Because it's not as powerful as a solar subclass, because I know for the solar subclass you can instantly stagger the unstoppable champions with this exotic sky rifle. It doesn't really work consistently when you're in an arc subclass, strand subclass, stasis subclass. It doesn't work that consistently. And I'm talking about the Polaris lance. I'm not talking about the stasis grenades, all of those goody stuff, alright? And I'm not talking about the shackle for the strand, alright? I'm just talking mainly about the exotic scout. Now make sure you focus on taking down the bigger champions. You want to take them down because they're going to move all the way up to the cliff and they're going to make your life quite frustrating. Not only that, it's going to make you waste a lot of time. Now this is the part where things can be tricky on console. The one thing I hate about this is the auto aiming. You have to be super careful and try your best, by the way, to take down the ads. Now for me, I want to take down the Ogre Major and then take down the bigger champions. But if I do see Unstoppable, I do stagger him a bit, try to focus on the bigger champions. The reason why you want to take down the bigger champions is they will hide behind that little green, I would say it looks like a mini castle. Oh, in other words, it's gonna hide behind the mini boss, the big boss that shoots and spams Kai from far distance. You want to make sure you take down the bigger champion as much as you can. I would just ignore the unstoppable champion and focus on the barrier. And yes, forgive me, by the way, alright? It is not my fault that I cannot do consistent precision shots on this angle. It is extremely difficult and frustrating on PS5, on Xbox, alright? And yeah, this is gonna take a while. But basically, this is what you have to deal with. And yes, I could use my super, but I wanted to wait for my super later for the next ad spawn. But like I said, it's up to you, it's up to everyone of when they want to use their super. But that's what I said, that the Polaris Lance is really powerful in a solar subclass. Now the reason why I'm on a voice subclass, because I cannot bother myself with the boss fight of picking up the orbs, and it was already a nightmare on solo warlock. Alright, I don't want to deal with it again, especially with knowing the ad spawns, which I will talk about that later. And yes, he is doing ballerina twirls. This may take a while. Come on, barrier champion, I just want to get this done and over it. Nobody likes battlegrounds. I don't like it, you don't like it, nobody likes battlegrounds. It's not even a story or a strike. And you know what's the worst part? Probably gonna bring more battlegrounds. Especially in Guardian games, there was EDZ. So now we're gonna have this nice mini boss. But before we take down this mini boss, we gotta take down the barrier champion. Take him down as soon as possible. That's why I wanted to use my super, so I can focus on taking down this barrier champion and make sure you use precision shots so you can get radiant. Yeah, I know. It's crazy, right? Once that's done, all the ads are clear. Everything is good for now. Before we have to get to the cheese spot, we're gonna deal with Unstoppable Champion. And yes, I am using the hand cannon. Yes, I could have used a blind grenades or a sniper or, you know, all those stuff, but I need a hand cannon for the mini cheese for the ghost. Alright, it just works better for this subclass. Plus, I don't have a grenade build. I'm not a warlock where I can spam grenades on a solar subclass, or even better with a void subclass. So I'm baiting the boss to move. Please move. Alright, it's behaving, it's cooperating. And of course we have this threat detection, which you have to take cover and at the same time make this boss stay in one place. Because for the hunter, they're just so delicate. Especially in the void subclass. I know for solar and arc, it's completely different. you can build up their resilience. Make sure you just go to the stairs. Sometimes your hunter can bounce off and it can lead to your death. Now for this part, what you can do is you can use your Roman super on any subclasses if you don't have the patience to clear all the ads. But because we are in the power of invisibility, I'm just going to take advantage of it and just get to the ghosts. So just letting everyone know, yes, you can use your Roman super like the Dawn Blade, or let's just say Arc Strider Hunter, not Gathering Storm, even though Gathering Storm is really good. Or the Strand Titan subclass. You can just run past all these dudes, these scorns, and then just make your way to the ghosts. Because I have no patience to deal with these scorns and stalkers, I'm just going to make my way to the cheese spot. Yes, the cheese spot. Now, during this mini cheese, make sure you crouch, move to the left, and then let your character float. So I did crouch a bit and then got up. And then just wait for my character to float. Once it starts floating, then you got the cheese spot. So the beauty about this is if you do mess up, you can just turn invisible, go to the door, bait the ads, and then try again. We're on a warlock, titan, and of course a solar hunter. Then it's pretty much back to orbit. So mainly for the defend the ghosts, there will be 2 unstoppable champions and then this major mini boss, a scorn boss, which he loves to hide behind this wall right there. Well, I would say at the bottom. What you can do is you can take advantage of the POLARIS lance. So you can burn the ad and you can make him move from the right side, for an example. Or you can throw your suppressing grenades to make him move, which sometimes that works, depending if you can throw it well. I wanted to focus on taking down the Scorn first, then to deal with unstoppable champions. The reason why is if you take down 2 of the unstoppable champions, then the Scorn is going to stay all the way from the back left side. You can see an example there. That's just my opinion, everyone's different. And I know for a warlock build or a grenade build, you can easily just spam grenades. But because we're on this subclass, sadly, by the way, we can't really do that method where we have to rely on a machine gun and rely on an exotic scout rifle. I'm really hoping that this mini boss Scorn will move, but if he doesn't move, just take your time dealing with the double champions. Just make sure you don't kill all of it. You can kill one and leave one or do some damage a bit. So yeah, this is the hardest part, is just taking down that annoying Scorn. Once he's off his little hiding spot, quickly use your machine gun and then take down the double champions. So here are some rules for the cheese spot, which I haven't mentioned too much about it last year. Okay, so first rule, do not use your super. Using your super will mess up the cheese spot. Rule 2, do not jump or use emojis. That's another rule that I would highly recommend not to do that. All you can do is move the camera and then that's about it. Throw your grenades, and if on Hunter, you could just throw your smoke grenade. Rule 4, if on Warlock, do not use your healing rift. Yes, it can work, but sometimes it messes up your cheese spot. Rule 5, do not use your barricade on Titan. Yes, I know some people are going to ask, can you use your barricade on Titan? No, highly recommend you don't do it. I have tried it and it has messed up my Titan run. I'm trying to think of other things. Rule 5. Yes, you can use the stasis turret for the warlock if you want to. And you could just take advantage of it, especially when a unstoppable champion is nearby. You can spam it and then just take advantage of it. Rule 6. No, you can't use your well for the cheese spot because it can also mess up. And then it will make the stalkers throw those void grenades. So that's basically all the rules I can think of. I'm sure there are more. And I guess rule 7 or 6 extra. If on Void Hunter, if they do spot you and they're throwing grenades and attacking you, you could turn invisible, you can go back to the door, bait them, and then just come back to the cheese spot and try again. So now we're gonna have more champions, and the double champions actually can spawn to the door at the front or on the left. Completely RNG, by the way. I have no control of it. Because I have bad luck, which happens all the time. We have to deal with the unstoppable champions, and they're walking. They just spawn from the left side, which I don't like because I can easily take them down if it was spawned at the front door. When you do see unstoppable champions, try your best to use the exotic Solar Scout so you can do some damage to the mini Scorn boss. That's basically the objective for this one. That's why I didn't use my hand cannon for this part, but I will once the Scorn is down. But you can see a huge difference between with a solar subclass and a non-solar subclass with the Polaris lance. So I'm just trying to see if this Scorn will cooperate. I mean, he's almost dead. I can see the finisher icon yellow dot. He looks like he could easily be taken down. Right now I'm just trying to do precision shots so it can get damage. And then finally we took down this annoying mini boss raider. You just take your time dealing with these unstoppable champions, and if you want to, you can farm points if you want to. But I'm pretty sure no one really cares about that for a solo Grandmaster. Mainly you just want a completion in Platinum rank. Or for other players, you just want a completion and you don't care about the Platinum rank, which I don't blame you, especially for Battlegrounds. Alright, once we stagger this unstoppable champion, then we can just be able to go to the next phase. If you notice, yes, unstoppable champion will move from the left and then he's going to come back from the right side. Yeah, great. This guy is so annoying. This should be the last spawn, and the last spawn will probably be champions. The good news is there won't be any more of those Scorn major mini bosses, which we despise and hate, especially for this build. Right now I'm just waiting patiently. Hopefully the unstoppable champion will spawn at the door, and lucky me. Now I'm just trying to get my precision shots and it's not working. Curse you, console aim assist. It messed up my flawless run again. But seriously, it is really annoying. Then he's gonna move from the left really slow, and for some reason he was behaving awkward. I mean, he was moving from the left aggressively, well, the right aggressively, and then he's gonna move from the left. Then hopefully he'll move from the right, very slowly and cautious, and oh my goodness, it's so bothering, right? Once you stack an unstoppable champion, then you use your machine gun. This is why I'm using a hand cannon. It's not because of giggles or laughs. Alright, I'm using it because for this cheese spot, I want to do as much damage as I can, even though I can't get the crit spots. Alright, that's the reason why. It has nothing to do of trolling or for giggles. So I'm going to fast forward this a bit. It's just me passing the lasers and then just going to the next level. We're gonna go pick up the orbs. So there is actually two things I would like to talk about. So first of all, you can grab this orb, so make sure you have your super for the hunter. You want to just take advantage of visibility, pull back at this side because, well, this scorn traffic will one-shot you if not careful. Then you use your machine gun and you just spam it, spam the bungee out of it. And I'm serious, spam the bungee out of this machine gun. Then you pick up the orb or the core or the PDT core. Then you must turn invisible because this is when things get tricky, especially if you're going for a different subclass where these guys can spam void and they can do so much damage. Just be careful when jumping on a top platform. Your hunter could bounce off, your warlock could bounce off, and then your titan could bounce off. Now, one thing I need to talk about is when you do complete this, you can skip 2 champions and still get platinum. Now, if you do wait for the timer to run out, then the punishment is having ad spawn and then 2 champions, which will be 1 barrier and 1 unstoppable. Now, it is your choice of what you prefer to do. If you don't want to bar yourself grabbing the orange orbs, which I completely understand, like seriously, you do not have to feel sad if you cannot get the 2 orbs. If you can't get the 2 orange orbs of death and you keep dying at this phase, then just wait for it. Just wait for the reinforcements and then just deal with the 2 additional champions. Because it's just not worth of spending 30 minutes of your life and then you go back to orbit because of this little orange orb phase. Now I'm going to go to the mini cheese spot. There are 2 ways, one to the middle platform and one to the right side. Now I did kind of mess up this mini cheese because I completely forgot how this works. So make sure you jump near the gray line pipe. You see that gray line on the left side? Yes, that one. Make sure you jump near the gray line pipe. So my bad for that. So forgive me of messing up my own mini cheese spot. Because I forgot to mention this last year. I did say last year just jump on the pipe. Well, jump near the gray line pipe for the hunter, because let's be honest, the hunter jump is not that great compared to the warlock and titan without stompies. Alright, the problem with the jump is you have to be on it, and if you mess up, your hunter will bounce and then there goes your solo flawless run, and it's just a pain. Alright, a pain and a bungee. Now let's talk about the boss fight. Oh my goodness, where do I even begin? During the boss fight, when using POLARIS lance, you want to stagger the boss. See, here's the problem. It's really difficult to use POLARIS lance with a non-solar subclass, because a POLARIS lance is powerful with a solar subclass, which makes the boss not move and they get staggered consistently. It's basically the same thing of what happens on the Cosmodrome Battleground. And if anyone watched the video on my warlock run, right, I said in the chapter description to spam the bungee as POLARIS lance when he spawns, and it's true. Well, unfortunately for this footage, it will be a bit difficult to make the boss stagger because he will try his best to snipe you. But the good news is that with the resilience that we have, it won't one-shot you, but you'll be close to the red bar. Now I've been trying to bait this boss to walk towards the right side for this footage, but because he's not cooperating, right, it didn't work out. So I went to the first plate. So there's the first plate, second plate, and third plate. I never really went to the third plate, or in other words the back plate. I don't know why, but I never seemed to get the boss to walk on the right or the middle or left angle, because the boss was not cooperating. For some reason, he wasn't cooperating on my test runs. He usually walks on the right side. So just be aware that the POLARIS lance is not, it's powerful, but not powerful enough to make it stagger consistently 100%. You can see over here, I'm trying to make sure I go for my precision shots. And don't forget to use your super. See, I'm saving for my super for the ad spawn from the top left side, which you will see very soon. Right there. So there will be an ad spawn very soon once I do enough damage to the boss. And of course, there'll be another ad spawn from behind me. But I just want to take care of these raiders, because sometimes there will be moments where the boss snipes me and then the corrupted raider snipes me. And I want to make sure on this side, this half of the platform or this room, there's no stalkers harassing me, especially those raiders. Now he's gonna teleport. Great. And I completely forgot where he spawns. Usually he spawns from the right side. But then there are times where you can make him walk to the right side. See, sometimes the boss behaves so weird. Alright, and for some reason that guy just teleported out of nowhere. So I wanted to see if he will spawn from the right side or walk to it, but he didn't. Then I saw him, I said, oh boy, this is gonna be fun. So I wanted to ignore the stalkers, even though I shouldn't ignore them. But sometimes if you get near too close to the plate, it can one-shot you. Sometimes. Just be aware of it. And I really, really hate this. See, I'm not really comfortable on Hunter on the cheese spot. On the Warlock, you can use your Healing Rift, right? You don't really have to worry too much of these stalkers throwing grenades. Where on the Hunter, you're like, okay, you know, nothing bad's gonna happen. And then you get too close to the edge, minding your own business, and then boom, you get one shot by the void grenades. Sometimes it happens. By the way, it happened to me probably twice on a Hunter run. And the most annoying is when you're wearing your headphones, you can hear these snipers, and it really bothers me. It hurts my ears a bit. I mean, I do want to lower down the audio, but at the same time, I need to hear the sniper sound from the boss. So if you notice, yes, the boss is not sniping me because I'm moving a little bit to the back so the cheese spot can block. But yeah, this is basically how this boss fight is. The boss is tanky and is extremely boring. I was waiting for the boss to walk from the other side. And then he finally did. Gosh, so annoying, right? So finally he was walking from this spot. And then I just spam POLARIS lance. But you can see here, proof that the POLARIS lance is not powerful when you are using a non-solar subclass. See, if I was on a solar subclass, right, then he would just stay put and he wouldn't move so much. That's the problem with this boss fight of using this sky rifle. So now I'm going to use my tether and hopefully he'll cooperate. And he won't move because you have to consistently use precision shots. But even though you use consistent precision shots, he's still gonna move, you know? And that's what I don't like about this boss fight. Great, teleporting. So now he's gonna teleport from the back. There'll be more ad spawn, the same thing as usual. Hopefully he'll cooperate. But yeah, isn't this fun? My gosh. Imagine if I was in solar subclass. Oh boy, this guy will be already at half health 5 minutes ago. Or 8 minutes ago. Yeah, if you see here, yes, I am trying to use the invisible wall cheese spot. So when he does snipe me, I just wait for my health to regain and then I go back to DPSing. So once we do DPS at the boss, this is going to be extremely difficult, where we have to deal with 2 unstoppable champions. Make sure you try your best to clear as much stalkers as you can. The reason why is there will be times where you're going to be at the edge dealing with unstoppable champions. And there will be times where the stalker out of nowhere, sneaky as ever, just like Hollow Layer, will throw a void grenade and then you'll get one shot at the cheese spot. Now I am gonna go to the middle plate, but gosh, these raiders really want me to stay at this first plate. So I'm just waiting to go to the second plate. I was trying to see where the unstoppables are. And then the Scorn from the left side was shooting solar at me, which I didn't like. It's not really too safe at that spot. So I'm going to go to the middle plate or the second plate. And now I'm going to see if I can deal with these champions. So yes, I will use a machine gun to deal with these champions. I want to take them down as much as I can because I want to grab the arc orbs from the Scorn captains. That's why I said it's best when the unstoppable champions do spawn. Try your best to take down as much ads as you can. Especially the stalkers, I would say. Because the stalkers are the ones that are going to mess up your run, especially at this phase. I'm going to clear a bit of ads here. And then I'm going to have the 3 Scorn captains. I'm going to have their health reduce into finisher mode. That way I can use finisher when I turn invisible, and then I could just dunk the 3 orbs and then just go back to the cheese spot. So first things first, lower the health of the Scorn captains. Once I dunk the 3 orbs, then I go back to the cheese spot. And then after that, we can deal with the other 2 orbs. The unstoppable champion was not cooperating. That's the part I don't like about this phase. It behaves so awkwardly, and I really want the boss to get away from me so I can deal with unstoppable champion. But because he's not cooperating, right? He's not moving from the right side, and it's extremely annoying. So now I have to wait patiently, see why this annoying champion is not cooperating. But yeah, it is funny because on my last footage, I took down both of the champions quickly, and then for this run, I was having trouble. Alright, so finally the unstoppable champion is moving. My gosh, thank you. Thank the traveler and the speaker. Now we can do some DPS dealing with the unstoppable champion. And the boss was nowhere to be seen. He's all the way from the middle. He's slowly moving from the right side. So once we took down the unstoppable champions, now we can deal with these scorn captains. So I'm going to fast forward this a bit. So mainly I'm just lowering the health of these scorn captains, then I'm going to turn invisible. Once 3 of them are low health, now I'm going to be grabbing orbs. Now, when hanging out at this platform, especially on a non-invisible run, you have to know the ad spawns. Because once you dunk an orb, there will be an ad spawn. Now, because we're an invis hunter, we don't really have to worry about those little itty detail stuff. But you can see here that these scorn captains, yes, they place a trap on my poor hunter. So luckily I was able to dunk the orb there. I was being extremely reckless. So now I'm going to be grabbing the next orb. And I'm just going to be spamming finisher. And then getting the second orb. Well, I would say a third orb. But yeah. Alright, there he is. There's the mini scorn dude. I'm going to wait for my invis so I can gain some invisibility for the smoke. And I'm going to grab the orb, R3 for me, or hold square. Then I'm going to go back to the cheese spot. Then there'll be an ad spawn, which of course we don't have to worry about at all. We're going to go back to the mini cheese spot since our hunter jump is really pretty bad. Now we're going to go up to this pipe. And then we're going to lower down two scorn captains, right? Now we can deal with the 2 scorn captains. So I'm going to fast forward this. Basically, I'm going to be lowering the health of the 2 scorn captains and then just go back to invis. Yeah, isn't this fun? You can see that this guy was hiding. And then the light, for some reason, it's all white. Good thing I was wearing my blue light glasses. Alright, now we're going to turn invisible and then we're going to pick up the last 2 orbs. So as I said before, for the non-invis run, you have to know the ad spawns and clear the ads quickly. Because there is actually scribs and of course stalkers when they do spawn. And you can see I dunked the orb, ad spawn from the top right side when dunking the 4th orb. Just an example, by the way. Alright, now I'm going to be using finisher the last scorn and get the hell out of here. I'm going to grab the orb. And then I'm going to go back to the cheese spot. Alright. Goodbye, boss. So once again, I'm going to go focus on jumping near the gray line pipe. Just to let everyone know. There we go. And then just go on top of this pipe. It's just an alternate cheese jump. I know the middle is better, especially on a warlock and hunter. Yes, I understand that. It's just for the hunter, it's a pain. It's a pain to bungee. I don't know why. I just always miss my jumps on my hunter. Now we're at the last phase. And this is when the boss likes to spawn this void immune ability. Likes to spawn this void power. Well, power. To immune the enemies and himself, which you have to break down. Now, if you're wondering, yes, I am taking my time clearing the ads. The reason why I'm clearing them because sometimes they mess up my DPS with the boss. As I said before, with the non-solar subclass, the Polaris Lance is powerful, but not powerful enough to make the boss just sit in one go. Alright. He will move around, and it is probably the most painful part. Now, all we have to do is be patient, clear a bunch of ads here and there, especially the ones that could snipe you and stalkers. And then the boss will appear. So I went on the first plate, and yes, the boss sniped me. So I'm gonna wait patiently because this boss is a pain in the bungee. So when you do enough DPS, he should be able to spawn behind me. There is a particular pattern for this boss, but just be aware of these stalkers and these raiders. Yes, it is infinite amount of ads, but you want to make sure you take down the stalkers. If you see them, then take them down, because they'll throw you grenades. They'll throw the void grenades and you won't be able to see your target or the boss, and then he's gonna teleport and all that goody stuff. So now he's teleporting from the back, right? And he should be able to teleport from the back. He should be able. Right now he's cooperating. Usually he likes to move from the back platform, and then he likes to go from the right side. But I'm trying my best to make him stay one place. That's why you see that he's just staying in one place, because I'm spamming POLARIS lance even though it's not too powerful. But yeah, these stalkers are in the way. And when you're using headphones, I will tell you that the noise, the void sound is so loud, and it really scares the crap out of me. Well, it scares the bunch out of me. And I really despise it. It goes like really loud. Now you probably wonder what's going on here. Well, he immune himself and immune the enemies. And I had to be a little careful because now these stalkers are trying to mess up my DPS. You can see there. So I did throw a blinding grenade so I can blind them. And then they stopped throwing those annoying void grenades. Finally. For a while. So I can spam POLARIS lance over and over. So now he's cooperating. He's behaving, this boss. And I'm trying to not get too close to the edge. And now he's gonna teleport. Now he should be able to teleport behind me. If I'm right. Yes, there he is. There he is. There's that guy. So now I'm gonna be using tether. Gonna use my machine gun so I can clear the ads faster. Because we all know POLARIS lance takes time, especially with a non-solar subclass. And yes, he is moving around. You see what I mean of him moving around so much? It is extremely annoying. Alright, come on, boss. Cooperate with me. Sometimes the boss likes to move around. You can see he's at the bottom. Right. Great. He just loves to move around. This is the one thing I don't like about using this exotic weapon. He just moves around. He doesn't stay in one put. Gosh. It looked like he was from this side, so now he's walking towards this side, and then he teleports. Great, you know, perfect. Now I can spam my exotic scout. So now, finally, we'll be able to take down this boss and no interruptions. Raider. Now, for some reason, when I did use my tether, it made the boss move up to this spot, which I didn't know it could do that for this boss. I was actually quite surprised. Because of that, I took advantage of it and say, hey, I caught him. Let's just get this boss done and over it. So we finally took down the boss, and we got platinum. Thank you so much for watching. Overall, I hate Battlegrounds, and I despise it with all of my Bungie. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.